Hello. That music just gets me going every time I hear it, because that's my kind of music. I am so happy to be back here with Vintage Explorer. I am the Vintage Explorer. My name is Kathy, or Aunt Kathy to some. And we had our show going last year, and I had to take a hiatus for some physical and mental health issues, but I'm back, good as new, or as much as a vintage person can be good as new. And I'm just really pleased with what we've got going for the rest of 2022. It's a show that's we're at a new time. We're on a new day of the week. And we're just trying things out. And one thing I wanted to do is to introduce my new producer, who is Ashley. I think you know her as Apostate Ashley. Ashley, you want to join us today? Hey.
What up?
Good. Most of the time, she will be behind the scenes. But today, it's Girls' Day. We're going to just chit-chat and kind of share with you what we're looking for the show for this year, and just who knows what's going to happen today. If you're game, I'm game.
Yep.
One of the things that we had an opportunity to do together, we were there at the same time, we didn't go together, was we went to the Better Conference in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And so we wanted to kind of touch base with that and just share what that meant to each of us, what we gleaned from it, and how we're trying to incorporate what we learned into Vintage Explorer. So Ashley, I'm going to let you run with it. What did Better do for you? Did it make you better?
I don't know if it made me better, but it made, but maybe in a way, actually, because I took a look at myself while, the speakers were talking about how, with this common theme, how can we have better discourse amongst one another and with theists, people who are not like-minded to us. And especially behind the screen, we tend to dehumanize people and maybe get into debates, and maybe because of our maybe angry atheist phase, I'm speaking from experience. And so talking about how it's okay to be angry about unjust things, but that with one another, that we need to recognize that in our community, our atheist community, non-believer community, and even within a theist community, some of us have common goals, and our discourse needs to be better. So really bettering our conversation about what's actually important right now. There are countries, things are going crazy right now. There are human rights and things that like that need to be focused on more than anything. And that's the biggest thing that I took from it.
Great. And it's going to enhance you as a person. It's going to enhance you as a partner in a relationship. And it's also going to enhance you as far as your YouTube channel and all that we do together, even because we do spend time talking outside of doing the show. We first met when we were doing Unordained with Catherine Roberts. Mm-hmm. And that was fun. That's how we met. And from there, we just kind of connected. And when I kept having this burning inside to get back with Vintage Explorer and knowing that Oz and Jena are night people and I'm not, and I knew that Ashley was a day person, I thought, okay, maybe she'll be willing to produce for us. And here we are. So yeah, and I think we're a pretty good team.
I think so too.
Better for me, the thing that was the strongest was the need for better communication and understanding within our family, within our, not just the TANG gang, but within our community, mm-hmm. and understanding and getting to know the people in the community, that there's more to you than the fact that you're an activist. You know, there's more to each person that spoke there or was on the panel or even who participated. There's so much more. And it clicked something that had been in the back of my mind about a way to do a show. And here we are. I want to learn more about who each person is, your likes, your dislikes, who you are outside of activism. Let me get that word out. Activism.
Activism.
Maybe it's too early in the morning. I don't know. I had my second cup of coffee. Just to kind of zero in. So what we're going to be doing from now until the end of 2022 anyway, and probably into 2023 perhaps, is all the guests that we have on, majority of them are names that our community has heard, but we're going to get to know them as the person. Yeah. The person who has family, who has interests, who has hobbies, who is real. And we're not going to discuss or minutely discuss atheism or religion. Mm-hmm. When I get to know somebody, I don't really care about what they believe or don't believe. At first, I want to get to know the person. And so that's the goal of the show. That's what we're going to do. We have some folks lined up who are going to share the hobbies that they have. There's some very creative people out there. And I will tell you, I'm very pleased that we are booked except for 2 dates, we're booked through the end of this year with people willing to come on with us, Ashley. I think that's so exciting.
It's super cool. And there are some really talented atheists out there. Mm-hmm. And knowing some of their hobbies and the things that they're into and being able to picture them as a person even more than just an atheist. Yeah. It's kind of cool. Yeah. And some of us do kind of stay stuck in our angry atheist phase or, just soaking up so much atheist content. And so I think it's really, really good what you're doing, really healthy to think about what else is there about us.
I have to be honest and say part of this idea came from my own struggle, my mental health struggle last year when I was a fairly new atheist. I wasn't mm-hmm. calling myself atheist then. I was just an explorer.
Are you calling yourself one now? I didn't mean to assume.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there? Non-believer. I I just don't believe the book is real. I don't believe the supernatural is real. There are several things that I still question. There are circumstances that have happened in my life that I don't understand. And I don't know. So I would still consider myself an explorer because there is still the unknown out there.
Yeah.
And I would be out of line if I said I knew everything that there was out there dealing with my life. And just the new things that we've learned through the James Webb space camera, or I'm not scientific, so, I'll call it a camera, but the telescope shows us there's so much that we didn't know before, so much that we thought we knew and we were wrong. And so I want to be open to say, I don't feel like I know it all. But I do know that I don't believe the way I used to, and I don't believe the God of the Bible exists. And I don't believe that the Bible is the inerrant word of God. And I have so many in the community to thank. Oh, thank you, Murder Shed Steve. It's not my ring light, but I did work hard on having better lighting today. He's been a coach for us. He's a blast. He's going to be our guest next week, so we've spent some time with him.
And we got to meet him at Better too. Him and his wife.
Yes, we had. I sat at the table with them almost the whole time, and we had a blast. They're just really good, fun people and down to earth folks. And I hate to tell you that, but Murder Shed Steve doesn't always have an axe in his hand. He was very clean and blood free when we were there together.
Yeah, I saw zero blood. So you really had a great experience at Better. You said, was that your first atheist conference? It was mine.
Yeah, it was mine. I've been to all kinds of conferences over the years, but they were definitely faith-based or work-based. So this was the first, and just the sense of community, that was beautiful to watch.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was like so satisfying and validating a little bit, because a lot of us that did come out of church miss the community so much. And so some of us, we communicate online, but it's not quite the same. So being able to meet up in person is just really awesome.
Yes. I recently found out there's a new coffee house here in town there's two coffee houses that are big in the area, and one is owned by Christians. And so, the music that plays all the time. Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah, we have a couple dentist office like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, but there's another one, and I just put a note out to a good friend that goes there often and asked if it was friendly to those who were agnostic. And I got a big smiley face back and a thumbs up. And I thought, okay, then maybe there's a place I can go and hopefully meet a couple other people. It's just down the street from me, about 2 blocks too. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a go and try it out and see. Maybe I can find some people to have commonality with and build a little community here, because it's very lonely in this small town with churches on every corner. I have 2 churches, one right across the street from me and one a block down. And another one a block and a half behind me. And it's like, I'm being scared.
I know. We have just like a big one that's like staring straight at us at the end of our neighborhood. You just go down the main road and it's right there.
Too much. Too much. Well, out of last year, when I was I started to mention this and then I got side railed. Thank you for being here, and you helped get me back on track, Ashley. But things you say, jogs the memory. I was trying so hard to learn the new things and read all the books on, God's not good, and, Dr. Josh's books and so many other books, and listening. It was every time I was awake, I was listening or reading something. And the feeling I had was that I have to unlearn 50 plus years of Christianity and get into this new stuff immediately. Well, it was too much. And I was just getting stressed and more stressed and more stressed. And it wasn't healthy for me to have my focus just on one thing. And my hobbies are handwork, sewing, crafts, that kind of stuff. And I hadn't touched a thing. And I was so frustrated. I could just feel my inner body just so tense and tight because I wasn't having a sense of relaxation and enjoyment. I was so determined to learn this new stuff that I needed to know. And of course, I like books. I like knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm a research type person.
Yep.
And so, I'm just stuck in that. And finally, my therapist got on me and said, "What are you doing for pleasure?" And I said, "What's that?
Pleasure?"
That's not in my vocabulary. So,
what do you mean? Obsessing over religion and all that stuff is not pleasure?
Well, and I saw how easy it would become to be totally involved in that, in our atheism, as it was to be totally consumed in my Christianity. And that wasn't the route to go either.
Yeah.
And I think that is because of the habits that we've built and well, I guess I'll just stick with habits that we've built with what we do in our life every day and how consumed we are. We just replace, it's like a drug addiction. And some people will stop using this drug, but then they'll go into something else. I've seen people who were alcoholics quit drinking, but then they become workaholics. So it's always something to avoid dealing with what's really going on. And I didn't want atheism to become something that I was just letting consume my life and replacing it with what had consumed my life in Christianity. Does that make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense to me. It feels kind of nice to have that because you haven't been out as long as I have. And for me, I'm going on 9 years of the obsession. And so it's kind of nice to have somebody that's, I'm involved in this because I like you a lot. I want to help you. I like the idea of it. It's really great. And I feel like even just being behind the scenes, it will be therapeutic for me and a nice reminder for me to back away a little bit and just enjoy some real life stuff.
So tell me, Ashley, since I have you here, what are some real life things that you enjoy?
Real life things. Okay. Well, I do like plants a lot. I love like succulents and like ivies and cactus and all that kind of stuff. And so I like having those around my house. So I kind of obsess with plants a little bit too. And to be honest, I do spend a lot of my time on the YouTubes and stuff and obsessing over a lot of this stuff. I do. I'm very interested in finding out what the heck's going on at Kent Hovind's compound And so that takes up a lot of my mind. That takes up a lot of my mind. But like if I go outside, I like hanging out with my dogs. I have a golden retriever and a husky, and I love spending time with them. They're like,
great.
It kind of sounds crazy, but they're like my best friends. And my family, I have a husband, a stepson who's 12, and then I have a daughter that's 12. And so we hang out quite a bit, and we like going to nature reserves, nature preserves, going out, just throwing the frisbee, throwing the football around. I'm not a sports person whatsoever, but I'm like really good at throwing a football. Oddly enough. Cool. And so I just we love doing that kind of stuff. Just going out, throwing the frisbee, throwing the football, taking hikes in nature. We don't really do anything too crazy. We're not like too wild or go out and do anything too social. Here in our little town, we pretty much have, you go outside or you go out to eat. That's all we have here in Ohio.
And you're in a small town in Ohio, right?
Yep. We don't even have a Target.
Aw.
I know.
I'll bet there's a Wally World there, though, isn't there?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and a Meyer.
And okay. Well, hey, gotta have something.
I know. It's things have changed a little bit. It seems like ever since I got out of the ministry, I was always go, 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 go. And then I've really, Ohio sucks. Ohio does suck. I don't know how Indiana's any better though. Yeah. It's like the same thing. But yeah, so I was always like go, go, go in the ministry. And being like a female in ministry too, it's like you're always there to kind of get things set up and tear things down and help throughout everything in all areas except for like men's ministry. And so these last few years, I was gets triggered by Ohio. I'd like to know why. So it's nice to kind of just like chill.
Yes. Well,
and so sometimes do like nothing, like a whole lot of nothing, just hang out with family and enjoy nature and being home. What about you? What do you like to do?
Well, for many, many years, I've been into sewing of different kinds. My grandmother used to make quilts, and so I used to sit and watch her, and then she'd let me use the machine to do little bits. So the armpit of America. Come on. I think at least one of your children was born over there, so it can't be that bad. Smart ass here. I thought he was sleeping.
I know. Go back to bed, Oz.
Yeah, really. You need your beauty sleep. You need lots of beauty sleep. Anyway.
So what kind of sewing work do you do?
In the winter time, I usually try to do some quilts. Last year, I made 4 for Christmas presents, and then I put the machine away for a while. I was sick of it. So I like to do hand sewing, embroidery. I've done
that's so cool.
Done some stuff. I've cross stitched. I haven't done it in a while. And then I enjoy writing short stories. I've got some short stories, probably 4 or 5 of them that are like in different portions of being finished. None of them are finished. And one of my favorites is a kid's story. And it's about a squirrel. So who has magical powers. And it was just
funny.
One night, it was one of my sleepless nights. I had a notepad beside my bed, and I thought, oh, a squirrel, something about a squirrel. And the next thing I know, I'm writing this story about a squirrel named Mr. Lewis B. Dobbs.
That's cute.
And he wears a blue vest and a little top hat, and his tail is extra bushy, and he has adventures. He goes on adventures. He's met the queen. I mean, I don't know. And I was not on drugs, so
I was going to ask, did you take a psychedelic earlier that night?
I don't know. Maybe it was from my Ambien. I don't know. I've done shopping on Ambien that I was never aware of. Oh yeah, I ordered 100 zippers one time.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yes. And I got them and I thought, oh gosh, I don't remember this. There's different side effects from Ambien. It's called Ambien amnesia.
Huh.
And
I feel like I've heard of that actually.
Yeah. It's definitely out there. And I tracked everything to make sure it was really me that ordered them. And it was. And I still have probably 85 of those 100 zippers in multicolors. They're all 7 inches. I have no idea what I was making in my sleep state that required 100
Heck,
zippers.
I thought I ordered one.
Yeah, well, 1 in 100 looks quite different, So, yeah, I have found that if I take an Ambien, I need to either keep my phone or my debit credit card. No, I wasn't shrooming. I've never done shrooms. There's other things I have, as Ashley well knows. But
yes, I do.
But yeah, those days in my past, my hippie days were, yes, auntie.
I think that would be fun, actually.
To do shrooms?
Mm-hmm. Any psychedelic, really. I've never seen anything like that. I think I've heard a lot of cool things about that stuff.
I've heard that it's used in mental health therapy now too.
Microdosing for mental health, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
PTSD, things like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe I should talk to my therapist about that.
Yeah, can you recommend what do they do, like a resort? Or not like a resort, but a getaway, a
shroom getaway.
Shroom or LSD getaway.
Oh, hey. Well, I don't know. Go ahead.
That's all.
Along with what happened in the 60s and the late 50s, and I lived in the late 60s, 70s, all that weird time, all of that rebellious time. Drugs, sex, and rock and roll. That was the logo for everybody that was ready to tune in, turn on, and drop out. And a lot
sounds like a good time.
It was different, that's for sure. It was very rebellious. So actually, I look at how 50 years later, and it's the same things going on again, only in a grander scale.
Yeah.
It's like there's a cycle of repeating things in about a 50 to 60 year cycle. Yeah. Some say 40 to 60. But another thing I enjoy doing is researching my family's genealogy.
Oh, that's cool.
And I have been able to find on my father's side back 11 generations into Scotland.
Are you serious? That's sweet.
Yes. And then my mother's side were German, and it was just 4 generations ago that they came over from Germany. So I was able to find the ship that they came over on.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I just found it last week, and I was so excited. I thought, who can I call? Well, nobody I know gives a shit about it. So, I was just super excited. I'd spent hours looking through the rosters of the different ships in the 1850s. So that was pretty cool.
That is super cool.
I'm working on pulling together a book. Someday, Oz, you'll get a copy of the family history of where we came from and our journey.
Have you ever tried doing any of like the 23andMe's or?
I have the ancestry test I've done. I have a niece who's done the same test, and we're definitely from Germany, Scotland, England, that area of the world.
Yeah.
A little bit now. Hers didn't show up, but I hope mine will. I've sent another one in that we do have Cherokee, and I actually have a picture.
Me too.
Of my 4th great grandmother who was a Cherokee.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's fascinating. I'm just the kind of person who wants to know where I'm from and how it works and why I am the way I am, and woo 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 woo.
That's funny. I have I apparently some of my ancestors or family were from Indian Hills, Michigan. So I think they were Cherokee too.
Oh, okay. Well,
so
it's
kind of cool. And
my Cherokee
definitely like England and Scotland.
Yeah.
I don't know about Germany though.
It's just really fascinating to know and to see the things that were, of course, like recipes and things, mannerisms and things that have, traveled down through the generations. And
you were able to like see mannerisms and stuff? Like see what those were?
I've done a lot of research, honey. I've done a lot of research in family who came to northwestern Ohio and worked in the Black Swamp to build it up to fertile land for their crops. And I've spent a lot of time in libraries online. So anyway, so having missed that and sewing and, I never could knit, but those kinds of hand calming things for me put me in quite a state last year. And then, of course, when my sister passed, that made it even worse. So getting back to doing handwork is calming. I like to do tedious things that some people would wad up and throw away. I enjoy it because it's calming to me.
I can understand that. I had gotten into crocheting for a little while. I haven't actually. I have a half finished blanket over there that was supposed to be a gift for my mom a couple of years ago. That I never finished, but I like doing that stuff. But I do get, if it's a big project, I get halfway through and I do get like screw it, this is taking forever.
Yeah. You want to see results.
Yeah.
Well, so see here, people are getting to learn something about each of us today. Yeah. And that's what I'm wanting to do with friends that we have coming on the shows that are in our future. And I've reached out to a couple new folks. I only have 2 dates that are not plugged in, but I'm waiting to hear back on from some folks. And I'd like to mention our Gmail. Can you put that up for us?
Yep, I can.
I'm so glad Ashley's with me because I am technically challenged. And I've come a long way from a year ago, but there's still so much that I don't know how to do, and Ashley's brain is much younger than mine. But Vintage Explorer Life at gmail.com is the place to go if, number one, you have a hobby or some interest that you'd like to share with us, or if you want to make any comments, suggestions. I won't take complaints. No 4-letter words, everything like that, I'll just erase. But if you want to communicate with myself or Ashley, just give us an email and we'll look it over and see what we're going to do next year in 2023, because we're just really excited about the direction we're going for this season that we're in. And between the two of us, I think we're going to have a really good time.
I think so too.
Yeah. And I won't make you stay back behind the curtain all the time, Ashley. You know, you're too pretty and you're too kind and you've got too much going for you to hide you away. When I think a female show of two women working together is a good idea. You know, we need more of us on the YouTubes.
Yeah, I mean, but you have a lot of really great ideas, and I totally don't mind helping out behind the scenes.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's see. I have my little cheat sheet notes here.
I was curious how much you were wanting to go into, and I probably should have asked you this beforehand, but how much you were wanting to go into, like who we're going to be having on and what kinds of hobbies they might have.
Sure. Let me get my list. Well, one of our guests, our first guest, who's next week, has a rather murderous hobby. There'll be no names given for that until next week. But he was very clean when we met, and we did pre-record. Because we are a noontime show, we are willing to pre-record. I know that there's people who can't, because of work schedules, they can't do live, and so we're willing to pre-record, and that's a great option for us to have. There's somebody who's in, John Hudson. John, who the reason I contacted John was on Facebook. He's always putting stuff up that he's doing. He's either making something or growing something or hanging out with chickens or something, and I thought, he's interesting. I want to have, I think some people call him Grandpa. So John Hudson is going to be one of our guests. Titan Uranus is going to be one of our guests. And I'm really pleased that Titan's agreed to be on. He's big into gardening, so he's going to help us. We have Neil, the 604 Atheist, is going to join us. I didn't know until better that he had a band. And so his is going to be music. Ryan, who is with Biddy Buddha, she enjoys sewing, only what she does is different than what I do. And so that's going to be a day of probably more females than not. But I have a grandson who loves to sew. So, she's going to share some of her stuff and her hobbies with sewing. We're going to take off for Thanksgiving week. And then we are having John Lovell, the skeptic. He's into theater, and he's going to share with us. Oz's escape is music, and it's his therapy. Yep, absolutely.
Not sure what happened there.
I also think we have a couple others that I've put out requests for them to come, and I'm hoping that we'll see. So that takes us through the end of the year. We're doing just 2 shows a month. That's what I can handle. And physically, mentally, emotionally. And so twice a month, you'll see us. And if anybody is interested in coming to hang out with us, we would love to have you. Drop us a line. Ashley's going to be our promoter. And she's going to make sure to get out there when we're having our shows and who's going to be on them. She's good at that stuff. That's stuff I don't know how to do. And can you think of anything else we might be leaving out?
No, I'd have to say that probably the easiest thing would be to make sure that you click your notification button for the stream. So then anytime that we do go live, you'll get a notification for it.
Thank you.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
And then just keep an eye out.
Mm-hmm.
You could follow, myself or Kathy online, or if you're following Tang, then you can obviously see the upcoming stream. But I know myself, I'll be posting the stream at least probably 2 days beforehand in the future.
And also we want to promote other people and other people's shows that are in the Tang gang, and those of our friends, those that we have community with. We want to help share and build their viewership up as well. And I left my mug on the sink, but I won a trivia from the GD show with Dave and Genevieve. And
you did?
Yes, I did. And so I drink my morning coffee from that. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to have it to promote his show, and I left it over on the sink. So, hey, but I'll try to remember to have it next time, and we can promote that GD show.
That GD show.
Genevieve and Dave,
Yes.
Genevieve and Dave show. And anything we can do to help anybody. Also, we're going to have opportunities for a couple different therapists to come on, which I haven't talked to you about that completely, Ashley, but because mental health is such an important issue in my family, and I know you and I have talked about it, and the TANG network is big on mental health. And so I've been able to reach out to a couple therapists and see what their schedule permits for us to do some shows on different. No, I'm not using Dr. Ray at this point. I've reached out to a couple different people, one who's never been on any YouTube before ever. And
that'll be cool.
If she's willing to do something on grief, and not just the grief of losing a loved one, but grief in general, grief in losing our religion. Grief impacts us in so many ways, and there's so many kinds of grief that I didn't realize until I went to her. She worked well with me in some grief things, and even in retirement, you grieve. You think you're going to have a wonderful time in this new life of retired, but you grieve your previous life, your work life. And I didn't realize that was a part of grief. And so there's so much more. Before. Yeah. You grieve the life you had, the friendships you had, the schedule you had. A lot of people, their worth is their job. And so they leave that job they've had for 30 years or whatever. And there's an emptiness and there's a grieving there. So many kinds of grief. And I'm hoping that in the next year, she'll be able to join us. And that'd be great if we could do some Q&A somehow with a daytime show. We'll see.
That would be really, really cool. Very beneficial. Right. Especially, not even just maybe, I think from the standpoint also, like a lot of us who were in fundamentalism too, may have been, influenced in a way where we should focus on prayer instead of medication or therapy, things like that too. So, that's really good to bring attention to that, because for a lot of us, I think that it was maybe untreated for a lot of years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm I know in my family, I know for sure there's 2 in my family who are still untreated after many, many years. And it was like, oh, please. The response is when I say something about my therapist is, well, you have the therapist, but I have God. And I'm going, wait a minute. I had God. I had God for 50 some years. Was I not plugged into the right channel with him? You know, you've gone through similar things that I've gone through, and you don't need to talk about it. But this person has a deep anger. And if they were in therapy, they would be working on that anger.
Yeah.
But it's unrecognized to them. They just take their issues to God, and once is enough. They lay it at the altar, and it's up to the Father to take care of it.
I heard a statistic once that I'm not sure how true it is exactly, but that only 20% of people with mental illnesses actually seek help.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe in any sort of way, whether that be therapy or medication. And so I know for myself, I thought, well, I want to be a part of that 20%. I don't want to be the 80% that's not doing anything about it. And it's been a huge lifesaver.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and with anybody who watches any shows with TANG in particular, we encourage people to reach out to the Secular Therapy Project, and also Freedom from Religion. If you just need to talk to somebody, those are some areas of people you can reach out to. And I know my therapist actually is wanting to get involved with the Secular Therapy Project. And so I'm excited for her. She's just now starting to have more and more people who are leaving religion. And I take in books and all kinds of things to her to help educate her on the things that I'm learning, since I'm the one that's been the most vocal with her about the process. She's been with me the whole time. She's a secular therapist, but she's never dealt specifically with people leaving religion. And that's starting to really happen in our community. So many people have hopped from church to church to church and not finding answers, and they're finally just quitting going and seeing that they need some help. So though that's not what we're going to primarily focus on, we're always going to be
but that's still a part of the how do you deal with life after all of this, after leaving. You're leaving, and you can go get support, but you can also learn how to have some hobbies and move forward with your life. And I think that they do go hand in hand.
Yes, exactly. I just meant we weren't going to focus on it, but who knows?
Yeah.
We're going to be flexible if it comes up. If somebody says this is my therapy, hey, that's cool. I just want to help people as much as possible to heal. And if playing your guitar, playing music, listening to music, sewing, knitting, gardening, whatever, does it for you, and you find that happy place. I don't do the meditation, but I do meditation when the hands are working and busy,
Definitely.
And it always, my hands are busy because I had 2 grandmothers who said idle hands are the devil's workshop. Well, I certainly don't want to give him more work to do. So try to keep the mind and the hands busy. So. Anyway, I think we've covered everything we kind of talked about, and we might be done a little bit early today, but that's okay.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing is, do you happen to know any of the other things that are going on with TANG? Any maybe announcements or other shows that we can make?
There's a show tonight.
Yep,
but I can't tell you exactly who's on. Oz, Jena, whoever's in there. How can I be muted?
I know.
It runs in the family.
Hoping that they'll pop up with who's tonight. Either way. So show tonight. Pop over to the TANG channel when you get off here and make sure you hit the notification bell for that episode for tonight too, so you can view that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so
there
we go. Comfortable with the
yes.
Uncomfortable.
Yes. Well, I was
10 p.m.
watching
Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard. I was watching last night for a little bit, but boy, by 11 o'clock, I just can't stay awake. So Jena, Biddy, Buddha, David McDonald. I love David McDonald. I've just heard him 2 or 3 times, and it's like he fits with the TANG gang so well.
His interview was really good.
Cosmic Kyle, he's great. I met him at
nice
at the Better Conference. Secular Rarity, my buddy, and Shane Billowitz. I think he plays a guitar.
That's what he said. 816 is genetically modified skeptic. What's your story?
Okay, great. Thanks, Oz, for doing that. We want to.
Yeah, thank you.
Next show we'll have it all written up, so we announce it. But we're wanting to promote as much as we can. So. Anyway, you got any words of wisdom to leave us with before we go?
Maybe the only thing I could think of is keep thinking.
You keep thinking? Okay. Well, I'll end it like I used to end it. And that is with Vintage Explorer. Remember to always be kind and keep exploring. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.